Right now on NBC 26 Live at 10, two middle school students in custody after allegedly bringing a loaded gun to school. We have the latest from Manitowoc.
And after a house fire in Princeton, investigators now calling a death suspicious after finding a body inside the home.
Plus an update on the heroes in the local cop credited with saving a baby allegedly left in a freezing car while her father drank inside a bar. We begin tonight with an NBC 26 update. Two 14-year-old boys are in custody in Manitowoc tonight for allegedly bringing a loaded gun to school.
Police say the boys felt threatened by another group of students. NBC 26's Marissa DiCandido joins us live from the Green Bay newsroom with how police found the gun. Marissa.
Well, Mo, police say two students told a school resource officer they saw the gun in a classmate's backpack. They're praising those students tonight, saying they did the right thing.
A scary moment inside Wilson Junior High School in Manitowoc.
He did find a loaded .22 caliber revolver.
A school resource officer finding the gun in a student's backpack after two other students told him they saw it.
They informed him of what they knew and what they had apparently seen, and it could have stopped a very tragic situation.
Now, two 14-year-old boys are in custody. Police say one brought his relative's gun to school because they felt threatened by other classmates.
They were at least under the impression that somebody else might have a weapon.
Police say the students are identifying themselves as part of a little-known gang, but the district superintendent is making sure parents and students know this is an isolated incident.
We don't have students typically bringing weapons to school. This isn't an occurrence that happens in the Manitowoc Public School District.
The two students involved are in a juvenile facility and face multiple charges.
Manitowoc police will have extra patrols around all of the schools in the city tomorrow to help parents and students feel safe. The district has also set aside time for Wilson teachers to talk to students about what happened. Keeping you connected, Marissa DiCandido, NBC 26.
Thanks, Marissa. Students will see extra officers at Fond du Lac High School tomorrow after officials found a threatening note today. School leaders ask for the increased patrols just to be on the safe side. Police do not believe the threat, though, is credible.
15 people are in custody by the Brown County Drug Task Force investigating a cocaine drug ring. The sheriff's office says they seized 3 handguns, $10,000, and several drugs, including cocaine and marijuana. The investigation is still ongoing.
Happening now, the White House says President Donald Trump earned more than $150 million in income and paid $38 million in taxes back in 2005. The White House put the information out tonight ahead of an MSNBC report. A White House official said the $38 million was in addition to, quote, paying tens of millions of dollars in other taxes, such as sales and excise taxes and employment taxes. Well, Old Man Winter is refusing to go quietly. Another brisk day here in northeast Wisconsin.
Question is there a warm-up on the way? Here's your first forecast with NBC 26's chief meteorologist, Cameron Moreland.
There is, Mo. In fact, March is going to start to feel like March instead of feeling like January. Today, it felt like the middle of January across most of central and eastern Wisconsin. We had temperatures in the 20s, and we had some snow showers and flurries as well. Still a few lingering flurries here near Lake Winnebago or just east of Lake Winnebago. Besides that, it is drying out and cooling off. Temperatures are now falling through the single digits and teens, and that's what we can expect tomorrow morning at the bus stop. Look for bright sunshine with temperatures right around 12, mid-30s by the final bell. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Karen. Well, the Princeton Police Department says they found a body in a home destroyed by a fire, and they're calling that death suspicious tonight.
That house fire happened early Monday morning. NBC 26's Eric Crest was in Princeton today. He has the latest details.
Investigators from the state's fire marshal's office, the Division of Criminal Investigation, and the Princeton Police Department have been on scene here for most of Tuesday, trying to find out more about a dead body found inside. The Princeton Police Department, which is leading the investigation, says on Monday they discovered the body of an unidentified person inside of the burnt home. Now, since that discovery, the deceased has been sent to the county coroner's office to determine if it's the remains of the person who lived here or someone else. Police are calling the death of that unidentified person suspicious in nature at this time, adding that they have all of their local resources from the department tied up in following any leads that could lead them to more answers. Keeping you connected in Princeton, I'm Eric Crest with NBC 26.
The Princeton police chief tells NBC 26 they're putting all of their resources into finding out how the fire started and what killed the person inside. Well, it's been over just 30 days since fire crews discovered 2 bodies in a burned down house in the town of Pittsfield. The victims were identified as 49-year-old Alan Rainier and 41-year-old Marley Brokeman. The state fire marshal's office is continuing its investigation. They still have not determined the cause of the fire or the victim's cause of death.
Deputies have identified a 19-year-old man killed while walking on U.S. Highway 151 as Brandon Graytons of Beaver Dam. Investigators say he was walking in the northbound lane around 9:30 last night when he was hit and killed by a semi-truck. Deputies are still trying to determine why he was walking on the highway in the first place.
A prosecutor suspending charges tonight against an 84-year-old woman accused of causing a crash that killed 3 people in Oconto County.
You'll recall people started to petition to have charges dropped against Thelma Yashinsky, saying she's gone through enough. NBC 26's Pafua Yang has the new information.
The petition started with 1 signature. Now it has more than 1,100 supporters. Even family of victims who died in Yashinsky's car wrote letters to the Oconto County District Attorney asking him to drop the charges, saying they are unreasonable, unjust, and cruel. You'll recall in October of 2015, Yashinsky allegedly drove through a stop sign on County Highway I near Oconto Falls, killing her husband and 2 others. She was charged with 3 counts of homicide by negligent operation of a vehicle and 2 charges of reckless driving causing injury. Last Friday, prosecutors agreed to suspend the charges, but the 84-year-old must meet 3 conditions. For the next 3 years, she cannot commit a crime. She can't drive her car outside a 2-mile radius from her home. And she must provide a doctor's note each of the next 2 years saying she's medically okay to drive. If Yashinsky follows these rules for the next 3 years, the prosecution says it will drop the charges completely. Reporting in the newsroom, Pafua Yang, NBC 26.
Plato's Closet reopening today in Ashwaubenon now with a temporary door. They're back in business just 4 days after an SUV went slamming through the front door, sending 2 people to the hospital. The frightening moments of the accident still fresh in one employee's mind.
So I had just gotten done checking someone out and I was putting the hangers over on the rack, and all of a sudden I just heard a loud noise and all I knew to do was just run.
Liz Bresch says she has stayed in contact with some of the 3 victims who were hit by the car. They're all doing well tonight.
The Hortonville Police Commission met tonight discussing clarification the village wanted about the punishment for the police chief, Michael Sullivan. The village's attorney asked the commission for the equivalent of a motion for reconsideration. The commission says they do not have anything to do with the complaint filed last week by the Wisconsin Professional Police Association, and that will not be handled by them.
Ashwaubenon Public Safety says they have arrested a man accused of theft and burglary after officers say he was stealing from classrooms at Pioneer Elementary School during a parent-teacher conference. NBC 26's Regina Ahn has new information.
29-year-old Albert Pugh of Green Bay was arrested just before 1 o'clock today, according to officers. Police took these still shots of Pugh from surveillance video and put it up on social media. Pugh can allegedly be seen walking in and out of classrooms. Police say he was taking wallets during parent-teacher conferences. The images led to dozens of people calling in with tips identifying the suspect. Captain Jody Crocker of Ashwaubenon Public Safety says Pugh eventually called investigators to ask if his picture could be taken down. Pugh was then arrested and is currently being held at the Brown County Jail.
We're working on trying to understand why this happened. Right now, we really don't have the answers, but as with any crime, no matter what it is, there is an understory that goes with it.
Captain Crocker says he hopes to get the motive or an explanation in the next few days. Keeping you connected, Regina Ahn, NBC 26.
The City of Menasha Police Department isn't expecting to press charges against a man whose dog was dragged behind his car yesterday. They say he left the dog out and put the leash on the hitch of the vehicle. When he came back to take his child to school, he forgot the dog was still attached. He drove for about 3/4 of a mile before someone got his attention to stop.
The man's distraught. You know, it's pretty clear that he certainly didn't mean to do this. But it's a good reminder, you know, as we get into our morning rituals to make sure that, you know, kids are taken out of the back seat of a car. We often hear about kids being left in a vehicle. The pets are cared for.
Now, luckily with the snow, he drove slowly and the dog didn't suffer significant injuries. The dog was treated and is expected to make a full recovery.
Well, coming up, we have an update to a story that went nationwide. A baby allegedly left in a cold vehicle while her father was inside a bar drinking. Now the heroes who saved her and the local cop who went above and beyond are likely to be honored.
And free agency frenzy as Packers players become former Packers, putting on some new uniforms and moving on.
You're connected to NBC 26 News at 10 with Cassandra Duvall, Billy Wagners, Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland, and Sports Director Charlie Sakaitis. NBC 26 News at 10, keeping you connected. And now, your Storm Shield forecast with NBC 26 Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland.
Although we did not get the hefty snow totals like southeastern Wisconsin, 1 to 2 feet in many spots, we've certainly had a lot of cold lately. In fact, today was our 6th consecutive day with below normal high temperatures, but warmer weather is just around the corner. Here's a look at your 7-day temperature trend. We're going to see highs in the mid-30s tomorrow, actually above freezing. Upper 30s to around 40 on Thursday and Friday, and then we'll climb up into the 40s as we move through the final weekend of winter and beyond. Right now, we are looking at temps that range from the mid-teens to the lower 20s. It is 21 degrees in Oshkosh, and we've got 19 degrees in Sturgeon Bay. Currently in Appleton, the temperature is 21 degrees. In Green Bay, it is also 21 degrees, and the winds are slowly diminishing. Out of the north at around 10 to 20 miles per hour pretty much all day long. Winds are now out of the north at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Still strong enough to produce a wind chill factor. It feels like 4 in Ephraim, and right now in Manitowoc, it feels like 5 degrees above zero. Along with the cold temps, we had on and off Snow showers and flurries across the area today. That activity actually coming off of Lake Superior, but now most of it has shifted off towards the east. We've got a large area of high pressure building in from Minnesota, and that area of high pressure will be our main weather maker here for the next couple of days. Underneath it this afternoon, it was cold, 10 to 15 degrees below normal for this time of year, but as that area of high pressure moves east, winds are turning to the south on the backside of it, and it's starting to warm back up, and that warmer weather is headed towards Wisconsin. In fact, tomorrow, most spots will be running about 5 to 8 degrees warmer than what we saw today, and that means most of us will see temperatures up into the mid-30s. Skycast shows lots of sunshine across the state tomorrow as high pressure moves directly overhead. Then as that high pressure system shifts to the east, by Thursday, we'll see sunshine giving way to increasing clouds, and that will lead to a wintry mix as we head into tomorrow night and Friday, and that means some snow is possible across the area. And yes, we do see snow during the season of spring. We're not officially in spring yet, but we're close enough. Typically about 7.1 inches between now and summer. But if you take a look at the last 5 years, that amount can vary greatly. In 2012, we only had a trace. In 2013, we had about 16 inches of snow. We'll just have to wait and see what Mother Nature deals out this spring. All right, your forecast for tonight calls for clearing skies or clear skies. Overnight lows will be right around 12 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and warmer, getting back up into the 30s, above freezing for a change. On Thursday, close to 40, sunshine giving way to increasing clouds. We'll have the chance for a wintry mix Thursday night into Friday. Some accumulating snow is possible, especially north of Green Bay. We'll fine-tune the forecast as we get a little bit closer. Behind that system, it'll warm up on Saturday, sun and clouds, lower 40s. We'll see low to mid 40s then for Sunday. As we officially head into spring on Monday, temperatures will be in the 40s to around 50 degrees, depending on how much sunshine we see.
We want a lot of it. We want those 40s. Those look pretty good right now.
Yeah, we're going to get that sunshine tomorrow, and even though the high is going to be in the mid-30s, it's going to feel spring-like out there with that strong March sunshine beating down on your face.
I'm looking forward to it. You?
I just know he said above freezing, so I'm
you're
fine
going to
with
take
that.
it. Doesn't matter what it is.
You got it.
Sounds perfect. Thanks, Cameron. Well, coming up, he went into dad mode, the local cop who helped comfort a baby after it was allegedly left in a cold vehicle, and the father was drinking in a bar. We have an update ahead on the heroic officer and bar employees who went above and beyond.
And it's an iconic race over a week long and covering nearly 1,000 miles, racing to the finish line in Nome, Alaska. A record-breaking Iditarod champion ahead in sports.
have new information tonight. A Menasha police officer and a bar owner and employee may soon receive special recognition for rescuing and comforting a baby left alone in a cold car during a snowstorm while her father allegedly drank inside.
NBC 26 first introduced you to Officer Edwards right after that March 1st incident, and today Stacey Engelbrecht sat down with him to get his reaction to all the attention.
Officer Edwards, the bartender and bar owner say they were just doing their jobs when they possibly saved the life of that baby girl. But soon they could receive an award for their impressive actions. Officer Tony Edwards, seen here on surveillance video comforting the 2-month-old baby, is amazed by the response. His story of feeding and changing the baby's diaper went viral, even making the news in Florida and California.
A lot of them have made comments that a good job, good work, things like that. There's always the joking among the officers that, hey, Hollywood, things like that. So
Teresa Geetman also in awe of all the attention.
I was kind of shocked by it, but then the situation's very unique.
The Redliner bartender credited with taking Marriott Cox's keys away and springing into action when the Chilton man mentioned he needed to check on his girl.
I've received a lot of compliments and thank yous because of the situation could have been a lot worse.
The bar owner also receiving praise for helping convince Cox to bring the 2-month-old into the warm bar. Menasha Police Chief Tim Stika says he's now considering all 3 to receive awards for what some call heroic actions.
A lot of really good positive things ended up happening because of the result of a few good decisions, and that's what we like to see.
Officer Edwards, a father of 4, says he still thinks about the baby.
yeah, and you never know what she'll grow up to be someday. Maybe she'll change the world, who knows.
While he says an award isn't necessary, he does hope this happy ending will inspire others to do the right thing.
This stuff happens. It's the reality of our society. Things like this will happen. Just hopefully that there's good people around that can take care of the situations before something tragic happens.
Officer Edwards says this is a great example of what can happen when the community and police work together. If the 3 are chosen, they would likely receive their awards during Police Week in May. Stacey Engelbrecht, NBC 26.
As for the baby's father, 53-year-old Marriott Cox, he just had a new court hearing set for this Thursday where prosecutors believe he may change his not guilty plea on child neglect and bail jumping charges. Of course, we'll let you know what happens in court on Thursday. We're coming right back with sports.
And now, NBC 26 Sports with Sports Director Charlie Sakaitis.
Welcome back to the show. A record-breaking day in the Iditarod. We'll get there, but first things at the beginning. Running back Eddie Lacy has decided to leave Green Bay and link up with the Seahawks of Seattle. That news was broken today by Adam Schefter of ESPN. The deal for Lacy will be for 1 year, $5.55 million. $3 million of that is guaranteed. Lacy was picking up 5.1 yards per carry earlier this year before suffering a season-ending injury. On Twitter today, the big back said, quote, "Thank you to the Packers organization for taking a chance on a kid from Gretna, Louisiana. Life-changing opportunity and am forever grateful," unquote. Lacy not the only one leaving today. Former first-round pick Datone Jones is heading to Minnesota to join up with the Vikings. This according to multiple reports. It is believed to be a 1-year, $3.75 million deal with incentives that could bump that up to $5 million. Jones played more of a hybrid elephant role on the pass rush this year. Over the length of his 4 years with the Pack, Jones started 7 games, 4 of them in this past season. He tallied just 9 sacks, 58 tackles since being taken 26th overall in 2013. In other transaction news, a former Packer is a Packer yet again. Green Bay signing cornerback Devon House to a 1-year deal that Ryan Wood of the Press-Gazette is reporting will be worth about $3.5 million. House spent his last 2 years in Jacksonville, but was drafted by the Pack in 2011, spending his first 4 seasons here as a pro in Green Bay. House will provide a veteran presence to that secondary, which just saw safety Micah Hyde walk out the door and head to Buffalo. And finally, here in the sports section, records falling in the last great race, the Iditarod. 57-year-old Mitch Seavey becomes the oldest musher ever to win the biggest event in the sport. But the story is far more fascinating even than that. Seavey shattered the Iditarod record by almost 8 hours, finishing in 8 days, 3 hours, 40 minutes. The person that held that record, Mitch's son Dallas Seavey, who a few years back became the youngest musher ever to win the race. Oh, and Dan Seavey Sr. ran the first ever Iditarod. So to recap, the Seaveys have the youngest winner, oldest winner, the 2 fastest winners. It's the 3rd win for Mitch. Son Dallas has 4 victories, and their bloodline goes back to the first race ever. That's quite the family tradition. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the sports keeping you connected. I'm Charlie Sakaitis for NBC 26.
Welcome back, everybody. My 3-degree guarantee for tomorrow is 35. If I can hit that high within 3 degrees, we will donate $100 to Double Portion. And we did not do that today. I forecast 25. The actual high was 29. The weather went exactly as planned, except winds switched from the northeast to the northwest, and that warmed us up just enough. But most spots were within the 3-degree guarantee.
And it still felt very cold out there.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for connecting. Have a good night.
And now, NBC 26 Sports with Sports Director Charlie Sakaitis.
Good morning, sports fans. Dayton Jones has left the Packers in favor of the Minnesota Vikings. Meanwhile, Devon House has left the Jaguars to return back to the Packers after a 2-year hiatus. But the big free agent news yesterday was that was broken by Adam Schefter of ESPN, and it's Eddie Lacy going to Seattle. The deal for Lacy will be for 1 year, $5.55 million. $3 million of that is guaranteed. Lacy was an interesting storyline all offseason after Coach Mike McCarthy threw down the gauntlet on his weight. He seemed to respond by dropping some LBs and posting a 5.1 yards per carry average in the first 5 games of the year, but an injured ankle ended his season. Lacy was a second-round pick out of Alabama back in 2013, posting back-to-back 1,100-yard seasons in year 1 and 2 with the Pack. On Twitter yesterday, the big back said, quote, "Thank you to the Packers organization for taking a chance on a kid from Grenada, Louisiana, life-changing opportunity, and am forever grateful," unquote. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the sports keeping you connected. I'm Charlie Sakaitis for NBC 26.